No, I'm
No, do it. But by the time,
No, I just
like seriously, when he gets done, like run and go pee, or pee on the way to the bathroom. Cut your time in half.
I need to fucking put a urinal in here or something, man.
Okay, hey, Blasphemers, hang tight. Jeremy is our guest, and we're about to start right now.
Now.
Hey, Blasphemers, welcome to Simple Blasphemy, where we have the best times with the worst topics.
We're three friends that discuss everything and nothing, from wacky headlines to games and trivia. All subjects bizarre and risque are on the table.
Our weekly guests range from friends, musicians, and artists to professionals in a variety of industries.
We go live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Want to support the show? Join our Patreon. You can find it and more at www.simpleblasphemy.com.
So grab a drink and join in.
It's too late now. This is Simple Blasphemy.
All right. Welcome to the Simple Blasphemy podcast, all you blasphemers out there. My name is Zach Ward, and I have here with me always Andy's. Are you muted for real? Oh.
Hi, I'm Andy. I was muted.
Hey, Andy. And also we have Mr. Zach Green.
Hey, you remember in the first Indiana Jones movie when he said he had some bad, well, there was some bad dates he was about to eat?
Mm-hmm.
That was a bad date.
Bad dates.
I had some bad limes, and they're in both my drinks, and I don't know what effect it's going to have. I might die.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Can you
Juicy.
die from that shit? It was like really slimy, and I still put them in the fucking drink because I'm like, I'm just pouring vodka on top of it.
Well, no,
Yeah.
you're gonna kill. No, that's gonna kill everything, including you.
All the info on this show can be found at simpleblasphemy.com. And if you click that like, share, subscribe button, you'll receive 5 years good luck. As mentioned, this week's guest is none other than Jeremy. What's happening, Jeremy?
Oh, just living in New York, and we're all doing the pandemic thing, right?
Hey, by the way, whereabouts are you in New York?
So I'm in Greenpoint in Brooklyn. Like
Okay.
I can see Manhattan right over there.
All right.
Yeah.
Wish I would have known that. We were there for the Sam Ash thing a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, now you have my number, so
That is true.
So in a year or two when this thing all blows over, then see you.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, we're all going to
Can you
go
imagine-
crash your apartment.
There's gonna be so much dumb shit that's gonna happen when this is over.
It might be like the
dumb.
Oh, yeah, it'll
roaring
be
20s.
great.
It might be like the roaring 20s, you know?
I think
Like
so.
free love,
I've always wanted to be a flapper.
just swapping. Like you've had
Just
your
flip-flopping
wife
and swapping.
exclusively in your house for
Right.
a year. It's time to, trade
Diversify.
up and, I'm just joking. I don't want to trade my wife. To get to know Jeremy just a little bit better, we have a couple fast 4 questions for you, Jeremy. So here we go.
A couple
shoot 'em.
of 4 questions.
A couple of 4. If you cup, you're 4. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
What would it be? Teleportation, I think.
Okay.
Why? Because I feel like I have this relationship between cause and effect, and I feel like if I can get to wherever I want to be faster, then that pretty much that's like most superpowers in one. I mean, why do you need to fly if you can just get there immediately?
And
You know what I mean?
Oh, but I have to put a foil on this. So what
Yeah.
if you're teleporting around
Mhm.
and you happen to teleport to where? Let's start small. There was a fly buzzing around and you just happen to occupy the same space, and all of a sudden you have a fly buzzing around on the inside of you until it dies. That'd be kind of annoying. Or like a bird lands in your skull.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I mean, I
Wasn't
think
that the fly was
Right.
built on that whole idea of like if you occupy the same space as something else, bad shit's gonna happen.
We
Right.
all turn into Jeff Goldblum.
I guess if we go down that route, like any superpower is probably going to have something
Side
Monkey's
effect.
paw.
you know, so,
Yeah.
something that we didn't think about.
Soft
Yeah.
stool.
Maybe I have to just rethink my superpower, I guess.
Oh no,
Jeez.
that's not
No.
what I'm trying to do. I just want to know
No.
what your take is. Do you think that you would be able to deal with that potential consequence? Like, would you not teleport like a dozen times a day? Like, man, I'm going to go to the store in New York and in London and all this other shit.
Yeah.
And then would you be like, okay, man, I teleport every once in a while. I mean, I like still have a squirrel tail popping out of my leg or something, but like,
Yeah. I mean,
That means
it's
something totally different.
it's something to think about, right? Yeah, maybe after that first one, I would have to rethink the whole thing.
after
know,
the first teleportation.
Now-
Yeah, I
might.
Here's the
You
deal,
know, it's
though.
like you ask a genie for a wish and you get the wish, and then you know, it's not what you thought it would be.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, though. Every time we have somebody that's in New York City or Los Angeles or those large metropolitan areas, they all wish for teleportation.
Yeah.
I
Really?
wonder why. Oh, every time. Like
That's funny.
Midwest or even in other countries that aren't necessarily booming, it's always like, you know, invisibility, or, you know, it's teleportation is for people that have a value for the time that they commute, you know.
Yeah.
It's risky, man. It's as risky as trying to do hyperspace in asteroids or Defender. You know, you might just end up fucking
Right.
dead. You might end up dead.
All right,
Right.
question 2. What
Yeah.
age do you consider old?
I don't know. I'm not there yet, but you know what's weird? When I was 18, I thought 25 was old, and when I was 25, I thought 30 was old. So it keeps changing, and now I'm kind of like all right with it, like for the most part, just like getting older. I feel like, I guess when I was younger, I thought like by this age I would have to like I had like these things that I had to have done, and now I just kind of live my life and just let all those things go. So I don't know. I'm a little bit more free, I guess.
So what are you saying, like 70, 80?
Beyond the chrono system.
Yeah. What's old? I don't know. I guess like 85.
All right, fair enough.
You know, just because of like the people I see around. I feel like once your body starts, like, you can't move around anymore, then you're kind of old. You're too old.
Oh,
Maybe.
and even in the interim, right, Green? I mean, because even those years in between 80.
You should actually live at the bottom of a large hole, so when you do fucking die, they just dump the dirt on top of you.
No, I still
You know
want to
what's-
experience.
Go
I'm sorry,
ahead.
Go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say. Whenever I'm hungover, I feel like I'm old. So it's like, I mean,
Oh, is this what it feels like when you get old?
Yeah,
This sucks.
Or like when you
Yeah.
see those really old people that are out and about and they take the slowest steps. And I think to myself, I'm like, just fucking move. But like, what are you experiencing? And it is every step is just like the fucking most excruciating
It's
pain in the
agony.
world.
so wait, let's go back to the teleportation thing. If you're really old, can you still teleport? Can
Oh,
I
hell
still
yeah.
do
Take
that?
long.
And-
Do you just kind of fall apart in front of people like Indiana Jones? It just and then somewhere in
Nope.
Egypt, they're screaming in the distance.
All right, question number
Jeremy
3.
materializes
Yeah.
outside of Giza.
Question number 3. What terrible movie do you love?
Terrible movie. Oh man, see, I don't think any movies I love are terrible. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show, is that a terrible movie? I don't think so. But some people say it's a bad movie, and
It's the
I love
movie.
it.
It's the movie equivalent of Fish. If you're part of the group that goes out to Rocky Horror Picture Show, you absolutely love it.
What,
Yeah.
like the equivalent of the band Fish?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Fish shreds.
Oh no, I'm
Um,
sure they shred. They're not my favorite, but I'm
All
sure,
right.
I'm sure they're fine.
Now, you're in New York City. Chances
Yeah.
are you have multiple jobs. What's the worst job you've ever had? Last and final question.
Last and final question. For
Okay.
one for one day at Raceway Park in Toledo, Ohio, I worked in maintenance, and I was building. I don't build things like physical things, and I was building like 25 picnic tables. I'd never built a table. I'd never built anything before. helping this guy like build picnic
Oh
tables.
my god, that's my dream job.
Yeah, no, for some people it is. I was just no good at it. I wish I could say I was, but that was by far the worst job, just because of my ineptitude.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we're gonna jump into the shout out section. We like to give a shout out to the top country in the audio only download. And
Oh my god, thank you, India. Thank you. Right
India,
now.
once again,
Oh,
91% of all downloads
Jesus Christ.
coming from India.
I'm gonna relocate there one day.
I know we really should.
I know.
And lastly, we have our shout out from Tanner.
Hey guys, Tanner here. I want to give a shout out to my man, Zach Green, for being such an amazing host. The dude is so chill, he falls asleep before he even gets to his place.
All right, so there's a little backstory before we dive into Jeremy.
Awesome.
Tanner was invited to come over and hang out in the hot tub with Zach. Right? Is this correct?
Yeah, he was gonna come over this Wednesday, but then Saturday, I'm like, you know what? I'm already fucking out and about, and I'm gonna hit the hot tub when I get home. Just fucking come over.
So here we go. This is Tanner
Are those dicks on your swim trunks?
with Zach Green and his hat backwards,
Sure.
sleeping in the hot tub,
Draped over the side of it.
draped over the side. Green.
But I mean, at least I'm in the hot tub just resting on the side. There's been times when I got out of the hot tub because it was too hot, and I fell backwards, and I fell out of the hot tub, and I fucking woke up when I was fucking mid falling, and I'm lucky I'm not fucking dead. But no, that's the safe way to fall asleep in the hot tub.
Okay, so you heard. I mean, you didn't hear that from here, folks, but Simple
Oh,
Blast.
man, all that, like 105 degrees and shit like that, and you got a good buzz going on. I mean, there's nothing you just like.
Motherfucker could
It's like being
practically
back in the
teleport.
fucking room. It's like being back in the fucking room, man.
All I can say is Tanner's the first one to make it out there. I feel.
I invited all you fuckers.
I know.
That
All right.
proves that Tanner is the best of us. And
He is the
in
best
all
of us. So let's do this a little bit here, folks. Jeremy. I've known
Yeah.
Jeremy since the early 2000s, maybe late 1900s for that matter. Pleasure to have you on. And let's just dig into your story, which is.
Sure.
Yeah, and you know what? People typically don't really enjoy their own story sometimes because they think that it's just me and this is just what I did.
Yeah.
But once again, you have to admit there's few people that had music gumption and whatnot and actually made some more moves than just playing every possible bar in the city that you live in. And that's what you guys did actually at a very, very young age. Now, Hearsay is when I first was introduced to you and your brother, at least.
Yeah.
When you first heard Saw.
Yeah. And I really, one of my earliest memories or favorite memories, I should say, is that you came in. I worked at a music store called Peeler Music. You guys came in and you brought a magazine because somebody had their shirt on, like, was it the cover?
Yeah. So it was I don't know if you guys remember the band POD, but it was like one of the first. So when we first
Southtown.
started, like anyone from the Toledo, Ohio music scene was like, I mean, you had Buzz 106.5 was the radio station, and then you would have all the advertisements for the local shows, and it was like, I was 15 years old at the time, and it was like Frankie's was the place where every new band was coming to, like it was like the up and coming bands. That's where they would play. So when we started Hearsay when we were like, my brother was 13, I was 15 at the time, and that was like the goal. That's the ultimate. If we can play a show there, then we've made it. And so, like, I don't know, we had been a band for about 6 months. And we're like, let's book a show. And the first show we get is that main event. And we're like, well, we just skipped Frankie's. The main event was like the Next Step Club. So we get booked there, and we're in high school. So, you know, we didn't know how many people we could bring, but like everyone allowed we invited all our friends and all their parents. So we brought like 100 people to our first show. So the promoter's like, wow, this is great. And like our first or second show, was like, do you guys want to open up for POD? And that's their first big single just popped on the radio. And we're like, whoa, this would be crazy. So we get to open for them. And it's like, we're, 15, 16 years old. And we're playing this show, and there's literally a line around the block. There's 250 people in a club that holds 150 people. And it's just wild. And we give one of our T-shirts that we just made to the singer of the band. We leave that night like pretty high, like off of the buzz of playing our first show in a club. But then like 2 months later, we're in had no idea this was happening. I'm in like Barnes and Noble or somewhere at the mall looking around, and I look and see the singer of POD is wearing the shirt I gave him on the cover of the magazine.
Cool.
So we're just like, brain explodes. Like, so we buy like up all the copies of the magazine, and I'm sure we were taking it around everywhere we went for like a month. And like, I'm sure that's when we brought it into Peeler, and we were like, bragging, whatever you want to call it. We were just like, and that's what we just thought. That's how it happens. Like, and I don't know. It was pretty cool. Being that young and having that experience.
Hell yeah. And you had monstrously supportive parents,
Yeah, still do.
I got to the few early shows. I know I saw you at main event. I don't know what time, but I ended up just hanging out with your parents.
Yeah.
Simply because y'all were way too young for me. That's for sure. So We Are the Fury. I'm sorry. Hearsay had a great run, and then you guys decided to kind of just change a few things up, stylistic wise. Is that basically, or was there a name problem, or what was the?
No, it was kind of like I said, we started that band when we were all between the ages of like 13 and 15, and what you listen to at that age is like, especially back then. Like now, I feel like if you're that age, you have the internet is just filled with music. You can find whatever you want, but at that age, you're kind of like you listen to what's on the radio. If you want to be outside the box, it was like the radio. It was like the rock station was underground in Toledo, it seemed. And I think we just kind of we'd been playing shows in clubs at that point. With the point we changed from Hearsay to We Are the Fury. I think we changed names around like when I was like 21. So for 6 years, we had been playing shows, hearing new music, listening to music, kind of expanding our horizons, playing shows with different bands, going to different shows. And we kind of just outgrew the sound. We weren't there anymore. I think just the time was a different time too. Yeah. I don't know. It just felt like we were into different music, and we were still like, the only reason we were sounding like we were at that point was because we had when we were in high school. And I feel like it's a time when most bands break up and start new bands. The thing was, we played really well, or at least we thought we did. We thought we played really well together, and we liked playing with each other. So we didn't want to throw that away. And I think it was like maybe my sophomore, I was just like, I was kind of like gung ho. I'm like, I want to have this vision for like where I want to go sonically, and everyone kind of trusted me, I think, to go in that direction. And that's why we switched names. It was more of like a stylistic thing, but also we wanted to keep playing with each other.
So same group of dudes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That
Minus
makes me
the
feel
DJ
really good.
though, right?
Yeah. He actually he's I haven't seen him in forever, but he quit, and that was right. Man, I'm thinking about. I haven't even thought about it for a long time, but that was like right after 9/11 when he quit, and he quit and joined the army, and he was in the army. So
Okay.
I think that's how it happened.
Andy, I'm sorry, I stepped on your toes.
No, I'm just saying that's really awesome, because I share the same thing with my dudes. We've got different formats of what we do. We're all doing it in different configurations, but we all like playing with each other, and it overlaps. So we're all. Yeah. If we could have a Plastic Ono band without it sucking, it probably would be something like that.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, you're
all
such
right. So, Hearsay was something that I would consider was like a Toledo-based thing, but We Are the Fury ended up becoming something greater than just the 419. How did you decide to not only change the style of the music with the vision that you were having, but how were you guys able to branch out to kind of be more than just a Toledo band?
Towards the end of towards the end of Hearsay, we did our first tour, and we my parents let us take our van, and we booked 2 months. And I think I was 19, my brother was 16 at the time, in between high school, summer break. And we just went, and I think this is also one other reason why we kind of switched sounds, is we toured for 2 months in the summer. And I guess we saw what was out there, and it kind of helped lead the way. But that kind of inspired us to nothing wrong with being a Toledo band, but we enjoyed touring. That was what we wanted to do. All the bands that we want, anytime a bigger band would come through Toledo, we would want to hop on the show, because we were so we want to do what these guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it was I guess kind of that, kind of the music thing. And then right when we changed our name, or we we're kind of changing in the process of when we kind of changed sounds, we put out a song on purevolume.com, and it just within a week it was getting tons of plays. And we had a call from RCA Records came out, and then they wanted to see us. There's a few other labels that flew out. Nothing ended up happening, but we went out that following year to LA and showcased. Again, nothing happened. Came back, and then we recorded our first EP. It was called Infinite Jest with We Are the Fury. Went back out to LA the following summer, and it was all these labels were at the show, and they were just coming out to see us, wanting to sign us. And then we started getting on tours, and then those tours leaded to more tours. So it was I guess probably about 4 years. We were still Toledo based at the time, but I know for a good 2-3 of those years, we were probably home about 2 months out of the year, and the rest of the time we were in the studio or touring. We weren't home much at all, for that period of time.
So have you been to Los Angeles before that?
Before that time, just on that first tour I talked about with Hearsay, we were in Silver Lake. We had a show in Silver Lake. But
so
no.
What was your first impression? I go there usually I'd be there right now, but
yeah.
What was your first impression of that place as it relates to just the, people often talk, we have friends we had Downtown Brown, he came on, and he has to migrate back because right now there's no work out there for musicians, but it's a very captivating, extravagant party. You got to talk about yourself a lot. How did you feel the vibe out in LA?
The first few times we were going out there, I loved it. It was it's just so it felt so different from what we were used to in Ohio. And it just felt pretty exciting. And especially I think, and I lived there for a couple of years before moving to New York. And I think as a band, when you come out there, it's if you have something going on, everyone wants to meet you and see you play, and buy you drinks and take you out and show you the town. And it's when you're at, we're at that point, in our early 20s, that's exactly what you want to do if you're in a band.
Oh yeah.
So
still today,
yeah.
I know we have a lot of
that's what I want to
listeners
do
in India, but anyone locally can come pick me up.
Let's go.
So We Are the Fury, about how long did that group last, and what was there any reason why it kind of fizzled?
Yeah, well, I guess we changed names to We Are the Fury in 2003, and then I would say it really lasted to 2009. And it was just, we had kind of a really rough kind of label situation. They they had some internal issues. It was kind of like, I don't know, it's a boring thing. And it's just like it's so typical. I think maybe I should tell it a little bit more. It's just like a typical story I've heard so many times, especially at that time period. It was like we were on this like kind of label that was part major label and part indie label,
Right.
and it felt like when we were talking about doing big things, they'd be like, oh, we're an indie label, we can't afford to do that. And when we talk about doing cool, interesting things, they're like, we're a major label, we have to do like major label type of things.
Circumvent this shit.
Yeah, which it sounds like no one wants to do anything. So I think that was a lot of it. I mean, we partied a lot. I don't know if that was as detrimental. I think we definitely had some issues with partying, maybe a little too much in the band. But I think like really it's a combination of things, and I think it's like basically people like it just didn't, the fire wasn't there anymore, I felt like, and so members started to leave. Yeah, like you said, it kind of just, that's when it fizzled out.
Well, it is difficult. Like if there's, like any business, to be fair, like if there isn't like growth of some sort, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's probably difficult and challenging to keep things together. In other words, you know, you want to see that growth. I don't care if it's like, we'll talk a little bit later about the candle business. There's got to be something that kind of drives you and pushes you.
Right. I do think music, though, is a little bit different, because for two reasons. One, if you enjoy just playing music, like you'll do it regardless if you see that growth or not. So I think we started like not enjoying it as much. And then the other thing in music is like it's like, we can talk about it with our candles and stuff later, but it's like there you do want to see growth, like, and it seems to go like maybe not like extremely steady all the time. Sometimes there's jumps where it goes really fast, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But with music, it's like I said, it's like if you have one song, you have and it's the right time and the right place, like you can go from 0 to 100 miles per hour like overnight. Which, I mean, yeah, you can do that in other businesses too, but I don't know if there's anything like in music, how, especially, you know, with how less expensive it is to record. You can make a record now in your bedroom, or, you know, save up a few $1,000, go in a studio and do it on your own. And I mean, there's records now that are on the radio that were made in people's bedrooms.
Oh yeah.
So I think those are the two differences.
Yeah. So when your current project that you have, can you explain that to us and how that all came to be? Was it a product of moving to New York City?
A little bit. When I moved to LA in 2008. I was there till 2011. I started, one of the bands that We Are the Fury toured with a lot was a band called Head Automatica. They would take us out on tour, and we'd be playing for, I mean, some of the tours there was 300 people a night. Sometimes there's up to like 2,000 people a night. And the guitar player and I, we had a very similar music interest. Like we were kind of on the same page. And when his band and my band kind of disbanded, we started playing together and did some music in LA. And then I was kind of just over LA. He was like, come to New York. I went back to Ohio for a little bit, went to New York, we kept trying to put together things in New York, and nothing was working. And then I kind of had an epiphany around 2012. And I was like, I have this idea for the sound where I want it to be like really stripped down rock and roll, like very evoking like the late 50s and early 60s. And at the time, I think like where rock and roll or rock music was at, it was just it was done. Like it really became a thing again, and all through the 90s and 2000s, and I felt it had nowhere to go. And that's the only kind of music I really apply myself to. And I felt if I was going to do it, I wanted to strip it all away and start from like the very beginning. And and so that was kind of the I guess the thinking of why to do that. And it made me like fall in love with playing music again. It wasn't like, I don't know. It was like after We Are the Fury broke up for a long time, I was like, I want to get back. I want to get back out there. And it felt like I wanted to do it because I missed touring and I missed that. But musically, I don't know if I was there as much. But for the first time, like when we were in the studio making the first Jeremy and the Harlequins record, I was like, this feels right. And so I don't want to lose that. Like whatever happens, whatever labels or whatever successes we've had with Jeremy and the Harlequins, I'm like, it's not worth it to lose that.
Yeah, and you guys have a little bit of like raunchy rock and roll too, you know.
Yeah,
that's stripped down stuff. And to be fair, just to point out, you did have a We Are the Fury reunion at Frankie's just a few years ago as well. So it's not like, yeah, I just want to make sure we're painting the picture. It's not like, you know, someone stole the money and snorted all the profits or anything like
They
that.
snorted the whole second album.
There were rumors like that. We still love each other, you know. It's just it's really hard, like being in a band, going through some of the shit that we went through. But yeah, I mean, I still talk to those guys. Like I still talk to Alan like a couple times a week.
That's the bass player.
Yeah.
Is he in town?
Yeah, Alan's in town. I know Chris is somewhere in Ohio. My brother's in New York. And then we had 2 keyboard players. Brady, who is our last keyboard player, he's in Los Angeles. And then I think Todd I think he might be back in Toledo now. I know he's in Florida for a little bit.
So I hear our audience asking this question. You've lived in Los Angeles. You lived in New York City. You've been in bands touring thousands of people. If you could put a price on how much money that you've had in beer and drugs, how much do you think?
That's a good question.
The
cost of a Lamborghini Countach.
I mean, yeah.
I'm just joking, really.
I could have bought a house. I could, but I mean,
equate it to fun, you know.
No, it's definitely fun. I think it's, I don't know. I know there's.
Do you have a political stance on that? Like, for instance, like I'm a libertarian, so I think drugs should be just decriminalized altogether. If people have some issues, then I figure that's more of a health issue than it really is. You know what I mean? A lock them up kind of a thing. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. You know, I think it becomes a little bit of a problematic when like society then has to figure out what to do with people. But I don't think it's right we don't treat people like, we should treat people like people, and a lot of the times people have problems with it, we treat like criminals. But yeah, I don't really understand why it's the government's business, why what you do with your, you know, your body and what you take. And I mean, a lot of, you know, conflicts and drug wars could have been avoided, and a lot of pockets got really fat because we're increasing. When you do that, you increase the value on the street of these things. So
Green, you look like you've tried drugs once or twice, right? I mean, do you have any questions for Jeremy? I know you're always in the back.
Dude, I'm fine. You know, why are you singling me out, man? I don't know what's going on here, man.
Well, you're the elder. You've got like all the smarts.
You look like a man that does a fair amount of drugs.
Looks like you're on drugs right now.
I have, you know, but no, I've been. The only shit I do right now is caffeine, and I love my gin.
Ketamine.
Right now, like 2 years ago it was scotch, but right now I love my gin.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm a gin fan.
Well, back to Jeremy then. No. So transporting from Los Angeles to New York City, a lot of Midwesterners or even people around the globe aren't even close to 2 cities like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on who has the best pizza? I mean, that's got to come up. And number
New
two,
York.
what was that like? What would you? How would you rate the two cities if you were, livable wise? What do you think?
I think it just depends on the person. I'm not trying to be diplomatic by saying
Sure.
that, but there's if you're doing what I don't know, if you're looking for this kind of life and you want to be in a place like that, you're either a New York person or an LA person. It's like if you like living in a tiny apartment and basically your living room is the bar or the restaurant, and you like just going out on the street and meeting people and going to a million places in a day, and then you probably want to be in New York. If you like, sunshine 364 days away a year, then and you like hiking and kombucha, then I think LA is where you probably would find yourself. So I don't know. I love now, like we just finished a new record and we recorded half of it in LA, and I loved being there. And some of the people I'm friends with there are like the best people in the world. But I just, as a person, like I, for some reason, love being in a tiny apartment and just walking out on the street and kind of having everything right there and hopping on a train or a taxi or a boat to get to place.
So yeah, no car, right?
No, well, actually, my parents are great. So me and my brother share a car.
Nothing but fucking trouble.
Actually, now is the only time with this whole COVID pandemic that you see more New Yorkers driving. But they're driving to get out of the city, like on the weekends. But I mean, it was crazy. Actually, I was driving a little bit during like April, May, and it was like you could never drive through Manhattan, and you're just like shooting around Manhattan, no traffic, no people. It was the weirdest, most surreal experience.
What's like your go-to spot in New York City?
For what?
Just like a good hang,
Oh, okay. Well, it depends. So right now, my new spot is my neighborhood local spot is a bar called Safe House. It's like the dive bar that I'm going to. I'm in a Polish neighborhood now.
Are they open right now though for you to come to?
So it's been interesting in New York. So we've had like the like street drinking thing. So like you'll go to a bar and they'll have like patios on the street, and you can also like basically have an open container, which you never could before. Okay. So it's really
like
crazy.
Like Vegas.
Yeah. Like it's really bizarre. I mean, the summer was a blast because it was just like everyone's just walking around with like drinks and going to parks and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, the apocalypse was fun for a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Summer apocalypse was more fun than winter apocalypse.
One of our very first guests years ago is Boris, the lead guitarist for Gogo Bordello. He's a New Yorker, and he was making so many different crazy party videos with himself, just around New York City. I keep forgetting. I got to get him back on. Are you familiar with Gogo Bordello at all? Or?
Yeah, they're great. I remember they were on Warped Tour when We Are the Fury did it in 2007 or 2006. And then I'll do some like back in the pre-pandemic times. Some of the venues would have like these nights that would be like a lot of musicians singing the music from like the Cramps or New York Dolls or something. And I know Eugene would do some of the same ones. So I remember that I've seen him do a bunch of those that I've done as well. He's great.
All right. Last music question, at least for me, unless Andy and Zach have anything. What crazy on the road music story, on stage or off stage, there has to be something that's beyond belief in some way, shape, or form?
I mean, there's so many. I'm trying to think like of one of the best ones. I wish I had more time to think about this.
Yeah, good job. Right, Zach. Put him on the spot.
I got I mean, let's point it into a category. Is it like a drinking story or a weed story? Like, where are we going with
let's
it?
go with weed, just because we all like to see weed legalized here sooner than later.
Right. Okay. So I feel like we're in. This is a We Are the Fury story. We're
Did you open
in
for Willie Nelson?
Weed Are the Fury?
We Are the Fury.
Weed Are the Fury.
All right, sorry.
We're actually had Automatica, this other band. They got us really turned on to, weed, and it was like being like a reggae band almost. How much we were, but I just remember, it was the first time. Did you ever see those like Listerine strip THC things? Do you guys?
No, but I can imagine.
No,
that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, they kind of
I
like
know what you're
dissolve
talking
in your mouth.
Yep.
I'd never seen these things before, and someone was like, "You got to try these." So it's like you don't know how many you're supposed to take of these, and so I remember we're taking a couple of them, and we're walking. So we start walking around, and we notice that our movements are getting slower and slower, and our arms are kind of going up like this, like a little bit.
Oh, it's working. It's working.
And I remember we're all walking, or we go into, we're in like Lawrence, Kansas, and we all go into like a Urban Outfitters, and we're all like walking like the T-Rex through the Urban Outfitters store, just like this, but moving at like, I don't know, 0.1 miles an hour. It felt like we were there for like 2 hours, just meandering through the store.
The chick that just got her nose rings, like nudging her coworker, like, look at these
And
assholes.
and Jeff Goldblum was given the raised eyebrow.
Yeah, and then I teleported out, and now I'm right here. So yeah.
Beautiful.
All right,
Fucking
believe it or
beautiful.
not, we have a couple questions from the chat. So here we go. Let's see.
Cool.
Ever been to Kettle Black in Brooklyn?
I
Greg
don't
says.
believe so.
Kettle Black. What is that, Greg?
It's an anime that he watches.
Oh boy, 9mm. All right. Well, we'll see if Greg gets back with that one. Julio says, did changing style, stripping down, meaning going to the current band, Jeremy the Harlequins, influence change in gear, guitars, amps, pedals?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, not as much for me, but definitely for the band. My brother still plays drums for Jeremy and the Harlequins. He like stripped down, basically lost half his kit. Just he plays like a one floor tom, one cymbal, like literally one cymbal, a ride, floor tom, snare drum.
They call that the Kevin Tuff special.
Yeah.
Oh God, you can put that in fucking Jeep Wrangler.
And just Fender amps, a lot of like Gretsch guitars, and thing that Craig plays. It's like a lot of like semi-hollow body guitars.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Greg said the bar owned by a local fireman is what the Kettle Black in Brooklyn.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Thanks for the tip.
Oops, did I click the wrong one? There we go. Sweet. Okay. Well,
hell fucking yeah.
Yeah. Green's dad was a Detroit fireman, so Green has a small space in his heart for firemen. So there you go.
It's a hunk of burning love.
It is. So let's just dive into this candle thing, and I apologize because the graphic isn't the whole screen, but the Fury Brothers, American made.
It's a good name. I like your branding, Jay.
Thank you.
Good branding.
The branding's way better than just that one picture. I didn't.
I'm just saying that, like, the We Are the Fury, and then you follow through. You keep that part.
Yeah.
To bring.
So FuryBrothers.com, www.FuryBros.com. Can you speak upon how this came about? And I mean,
well,
you tell us.
Actually, like when we were touring, a lot of the venues were near like little cool artisanal stores and stuff, and every once in a while I'd buy like candles or soap at these stores, and like I always liked them because I felt like even if I lived in a shitty apartment or something, if I like lit a candle, I was like, suddenly seemed like it was nicer.
Mm-hmm.
Hell
a little
yeah.
bit of class to the air.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I was like that, and one day my brother it was right after he moved here, so he was living in Paris. He was going to culinary school. He had quit We Are the Fury, then did culinary school, and then I got him to play drums again, and then he moved to New York. And
Does he still cook?
oh yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, he's great. Yeah.
You're not going to go to France and go to culinary school and come back and fucking eat McDonald's ever again.
No, yeah, he's something else. I mean, it makes eating anywhere else pretty tough.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Wow, that was an intense statement, Andy.
You're an intense
was-
statement, Zach Green.
So so you kind of got slightly inspired by the mystique and smell of I mean, don't get me wrong, I like really nice expensive candles because I don't know, there's something about the ones I get which I literally just threw away because it was out. They have like a wooden wick,
Yeah.
and you know you're paying $20-$30 and they smell unbelievable and last typically a little bit longer. So I suppose the real question is, like, what's the elevator pitch for the Fury Brothers candles?
Sure. So everything, like you said, is made in the USA. We originally started out of me and my brother were living in a tenement apartment in Manhattan, and we started. So back to the story. We started making candles. Basically, we're like, we like these. We're going to start making them. And then we were like, well, if we're going to make them, let's make them look how we would want them to look. So I was really inspired by motor oil graphics of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So I was like, it'd be cool to make candles and like put them in tins like that. So that was our first line. We have 3 different lines of candles. So we started manufacturing them pretty soon after that. We started selling to stores in New York and on Amazon. And we were doing like 1,000 candles a week within like the first 3 months. And it was crazy. And we were manufacturing in a 5-story walk-up apartment. So each candle weighs about 1 pound. So 1,000 candles is like over 1,000 pounds with the packaging. So I'm like, and my brother's like smaller than I am. So he's like, you have to carry the wax up while I'm making them. So I'm like carrying these 50-pound boxes of 5 lights. He's making the candles. Then I'm like, we're packaging them together and I'm carrying 50-pound, like 20, 50-pound boxes down like every week, which is insane. Everything's still, we now manufacture in Illinois. Everything's made in the USA. It's all natural ingredients. A lot of it's vegan friendly. We also do soaps. We have 3 different lines of candles now. We have our premium series, which is, like I said, the motor oil graphic inspired series. We have our black series, which you showed a photo of one of them, which is 12 different fragrances. And then we have our tiki cocktail series, which is like each is in a tiki mug. And they're inspired by different tiki cocktail recipes. But yeah, it's been really awesome. We also manufacture for bands. We've done candle lines now for like AFI, Smashing Pumpkins, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, Peter Cottontail, Aubrey Sellers, and Jeremy and the Harlequins. We have a candle. So yeah,
we almost had Robert.
Yeah.
Is the Jerry Cantrell scent called Boggy Depot?
No, it's dirty flannel.
It should be one of those two.
It smells like a rooster.
Staley.
Did you actually ever smell a rooster before? Like,
I don't.
I've
fucking
snuffed a
pick up
rooster
a
before.
rooster and put it in your nasal area, and
Buddy, I've snuffed a couple of them.
All right,
you
smells
didn't.
like
You
my
didn't.
vagina candle blowing up
No.
in the English living room. Oh boy. Okay.
I know what he's talking about. I saw that.
I don't know anybody raising roosters.
Okay, here we go.
Raising ducks.
Julio, he's been hanging out with us for quite some time every
Yeah.
Tuesday. He very
Oh
well
my God,
may.
you're just too kind.
Yeah, he very well may get one of these candles. So, which
Yeah.
is the most original and popular fragrance?
No,
for you?
because he will
Yeah.
buy pretty much everything from your stock.
And is there
Yeah.
a special like online only, coupon code for Julio that he's an artist as well. Who knows? I'm just joking. Whatever.
Yeah. We do have sales. We are having sales all through the holiday season. We'll have one pretty soon. So keep your eye out for that. But our most popular, it's kind of a tie. It goes back and forth. But our Patriot candle, which is campfire and fresh cut tobacco, is really popular. Our Ranger, which is like leather, saddle leather scented, and our Blackbeard, which is like gunpowder and charred hickory. Are three of our most popular fragrances.
Jeremy, if I wanted to get a candle for my studio here, because right now it smells like, like the type of shit that if you're running either a Tyco track or a toy train track, it's the smell of ozone. It's very electronic.
Yeah,
I love
what
that.
Could I fill this space with better than the electronic smell?
Yeah, I would say maybe something woodsy. Like we have a really nice balsam fir candle that I really like. Either that or a white birch. That I feel like that would be good again. Yeah.
I like wood.
Yeah.
Bet you do, pal.
Yeah.
Bet you do.
May I ask two questions?
That kind of wood too. Yes. Sure.
Oh, boy.
Whatever.
How close are you tied into making these scents? The actual fragrances. Do you choose the stuff yourself?
Like, is it an alchemy?
Yeah, like the actual experience you go through.
Well, I have this is the first of two questions.
Okay.
Right. So some of them we find fragrances, and then like our premium series, we make everything from like, we literally combine oils. So we'll buy like tons of different oils, and then we'll mix them. Like sometimes like I remember specifically for the Patriot one, we probably went through like 80 different samples. And then once we mixed them, then we would, there's like fragrance replicators who we send it to. And we send them the fragrance, and then they figure out how to just make that specific fragrance for us.
Okay, so you do have a heavy hand in it, but the thing that actually caught me off guard are fragrance replicators.
Yeah.
So I want something that smells like a Nintendo game. When you first open a Nintendo cartridge, I want that smell.
That would be really cool.
You're smelling the Mylar, I think.
Whatever it is, Nintendo products alone, and they still do it. They still smell the same. I opened up that Switch that I got for the kids a couple of years ago, and I huffed that thing like Al Pacino.
Wait, they're smelling the same from 1995 till now?
No, like 85, all the way up till now. Yes, all their stuff has a certain smell when you first open it up, and it goes away after a while. But I would keep like the plastic bags just because it had such a strong reaction.
Hey,
and
everybody's
I've had
got a
COVID,
kink,
and I
dude.
still don't have my smell back. So I don't want anything like it anytime soon until I know I can smell it. I want to know it's possible, though.
Yeah, let me look into it. It is possible. I mean, there's crazy fragrances out there. Even though our stuff like looks like motor oil candles, we don't do like a motor oil fragrance, but there are people who do like gasoline or rubber.
So they're able to replicate this stuff without it being like carcinogenic and actually really screw you up. Okay, so if it doesn't exist, I want everybody out in internet land to know that I want the patent for the Nintendo cartridge scented candle.
Of course.
And that I will go in with Jeremy and the Fury Brothers to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
So I want 2 cents. One is a joke and one is for real. I'm gonna start the real one first. I was looking around. I want that frankincense and myrrh, like Catholic Church, Christmas smell. And I bought one that was supposed to be frankincense, and it was extremely expensive. And when I received it, it was literally like a little itty bitty candle, like where it was. I was so disappointed in spending like $20 some when the picture looked like it was actually a larger thing. But that smell, I would, do you have something like that?
We do. We have in our premium series, we have a candle called Mojo, and it's inspired. We were inspired by like the New Orleans voodoo shops.
Okay.
We kind of wanted to recreate what those smell like, so we kind of figured it was like kind of a mix of frankincense and myrrh and like burning sage. So it has like kind of a more like smoke to it than maybe a lot of the frankincense and myrrh candles. But yeah, that's like, if anyone's looking for like kind of a church like frankincense and myrrh thing, like that's the closest that we have to that. But I think it's awesome. It's like it's one of my favorites.
That'd be a really cool scent. I remember having to burn charcoal discs and put frankincense beads on it.
Yeah.
To try to replicate that smell. I wanted my studio, my practice space, to smell like a Catholic church. I grew up Catholic. That's the one thing I wanted to take away from it, is that smell.
And trust me, hopefully that's the only thing. Greg Brown says,
too.
Basically, do you have a China virus smell? I don't know. I don't know.
Only when I had.
I want that as a cologne or perfume, whatever, man.
Just is there a COVID fragrance that you'd be able to capitalize? Like no?
I hope not.
An unscented candle? Perhaps.
The COVID cure candle.
Oh, that's a big one. That'd be great.
I've been doing scent training.
Dude, I need that.
A lot of people.
I want to let everybody know that I'm on their fucking page.
So if somebody goes and they visit your website, which we'll just pull it up one more time, furybros.com, they order a candle. Is there like a turnaround time if I go by the Mojo?
Usually it ships next day or next business day. So, you'll get it within a few days. Cool. Yeah. That's the thing. You can ship UPS or USPS. I know USPS is like pretty slow right now. But yeah, it'll get there. We ship out really fast. So.
India, we need you to
chime in. Yeah.
Chime in.
The other thing too, really quickly, folks, is that with the candles, because Jeremy came up to my work, I don't know, last year, I suppose, maybe even around this time. But the packaging and just the time and intricacy of everything, the presentation is really, really cool. And and also if you're gifting somebody something, let's face it, like, and I'm not trying to generalize things, but my wife loves candles. And I'm not saying every woman loves candles, but rather than just
Very
like,
big of you. Good for you.
Yeah, just like Julio was saying, Dear Yankee Candle, go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The presentation and the boxing and everything is really, really fun and exciting. Better than just like some kind of, weird shaped
or a board meeting.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Candle with the, sticker put on the front of it. They actually are really cool. So I encourage everybody to go check it out. And I'm assuming you guys probably ship overseas as well.
Yeah.
In any shape or form.
We'll ship to India.
Yes.
And yeah, Julio, most women's do love candles, back me up. So that means there's two of us. That's a consensus. And that's that. So, hey, Jeremy, I've known you for a very long time. And just in my own personal retrospect, it's so amazing to see all the different irons in the fire that you've done, mostly musically, that at least I'm aware of. And even seeing, the first couple of videos from We Are the Fury, like professional videos, which nobody was doing in town for the most part. No one was getting out. It was such an honor to know you guys at the very beginning and just see this growth and still doing it. And even more so, or should I say furthermore, now you're branching out and finding other ventures that you're passionate about, such as candles. And hopefully there's more things on the horizon for you as well. Would you like to pitch, or do you have like some other websites for, Jeremy and the Harlequins, or where people can find you?
Yeah. JeremyandtheHarlequins.com. Our music's on Spotify and all the streaming stuff. It's in record stores. We just finished our 4th LP. We just finished it 2 weeks ago. So that'll be out in 2021. The new single should come out within the next few months. We recorded it in New York and LA. We did it at Stevie Van Zant's studio from the East Street Band, with engineered by Jeff Sanoff, who's done like Fountains of Wayne and Jesse Malin and Darlene Love. And then we finished it in LA with Rick Parker, who's done like Lord Huron and Scott Weiland. And we're the most happy we've been with any record. I mean, every record, I think we want to top ourselves, and I think we did it with this one. So check that out. Check out anything else that we have. And thank you guys for having me here. It's been really fun.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. We love, like, one of the things, our podcast isn't God's gift or anything like that, especially, but
Speak for yourself, asshole.
it's just about, friends coming together and having a nice little chat. And we are fortunate enough to know so many interesting people like yourself, and that it's just more our pleasure than
It's more our pleasure than yours.
like Andy says, this is our bowling league. We do this every Tuesday, and
That's awesome.
And here's the thing: in the future, it's going to be more than once a week.
hopefully.
Nice.
Now there's
yeah.
two, Andy. One of these pieces of information are for you.
Oh, really?
There's two things happening next Tuesday, folks.
Oh, yeah.
We have a flat earther coming on. He contacted us. His name is David
I
Weiss.
can't wait. This is awesome.
We have a flat earth expert, and the first person that ever reached out to us,
Awesome.
because usually I'm the one doing the reaching out to and finding people. So that'll certainly be interesting. And last but not certainly least, Zach Green's birthday is next Tuesday.
I am turning. I
What a
haven't done
present.
the math because I completely forgot about my birthday, but I think I'm turning 48. I think I'm turning 48. I've been here a long time,
Leveling
and
up.
I'm going to be here a long time after you because I'm going to outlive most of you.
Not a
motherfuckers.
chance.
No,
No, 'cause-
I'm telling you, I'm going to outlive most of you motherfuckers.
If
Ancient.
everybody is on board, what we'd like to do too is get a swab of Zach Green and perhaps make a candle of Zach
At
Green.
least use it to grow some mushrooms.
Anyway, all right, Jeremy, really, really appreciate it, sir. Folks, that's it for us. Next week we have the Flat Earther. Everybody have a great week, and we will see you
Jeremy,
next week.
thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Thank you guys so much, and thanks to the audience, and all the best, guys.
Oh yeah, here we go.
All right.
See you next week.
We